as the leader of this team, we're focused on winning the Pac-12 championship, and that's the most important thing right now. And then obviously the Rose Bowl championship, and then the national championship. That's our focus and our goals. We haven't accomplished anything. We've got to move on. In the locker room right after the game, I told them, "Congratulations, I'm proud of you. Let's go get moving on to Oregon State," because got a tremendous respect for them. But for me personally, that's as big as it gets.
Todd, do you expect to have Jackson Hood this week?
I don't know. He's obviously taking care of some personal things, and we'll just see how that goes. First of all, those situations, what's best for him, and we'll see where we're at. But I really don't know yet.
Coach, you talked about the second half. The things. The team did play better, but it really was towards the fourth quarter. Now, granted, that's Monday time, and that's when the game is won, but is there any concern the last few games about the third quarter performance on both sides of the ball?
No, I think the third quarter had a lot to do with one. You have to give them credit. It's so easy as a coach. Every time somebody comes, I think I don't know if it was 21 unanswered points or whatever it was, or it's so easy to say, well, we did this and we made them look good, or we messed up. And no, I mean they made plays, and yes, we turned the ball over. That was not a good deal there. And we had, really for the first time in several weeks, we blew a couple of coverages and let them have some walk-off touchdowns. But they also are a very good football team. So I'm not worried about anything right now except getting our guys ready. As far as how we progress in a game, I thought our guys were the strongest guys on the field in the fourth quarter, and they have been. And I think that's a product of their training, and it's not just the physical training. I think the personal. This team has a will. People talk about this where they know how to reach down deep and go to that place. I talk to them all the time. You got to go to that place. That's where greatness happens, when things are so hard, when you're about to fall over and you're hurting, and that's when great things happen. And you got to know how to go to that place mentally. And so that's kind of where we're at with what I think. But my response to that is we made some mistakes, but Notre Dame performed really well and made solid adjustments, and give them credit for that.
Todd, what was your reaction when you saw Jalen Strong's touchdown catch, the one-handed thing, when you saw it on film?
Just wow. Pretty impressive. It's amazing. He couldn't hardly catch a ball when he first showed up here. It's amazing how no. He's I just went, wow. I watched that. I watched it a lot when I always watch the game, the film after the game. I watch everything, offense, defense, and special teams, and we had some recruiting, so I didn't get to watch it till like wee hours in the morning. But I rewound that quite a few times. That was pretty phenomenal. And he's, that's one of the things I tell him and DJ all the time. I thought DJ was the man. He is that he had an attitude about how he played. And I was so impressed. And they play so well all the time. I stopped mentioning them, but that was as good a catch as I've seen in a while. Pretty impressive.
A few weeks ago, you mentioned having said to Marcus Hardison how he needed to do something rather than talking about it. And the way as many impact plays as he had in that game, was that his most complete effort since he got here?
It's ironic you would say that. I think he has garnished more attention from the performance he had on Saturday as a player and as a future player. He flat lit it up. I mean, that was the most dominating performance that he has had. Marcus has got everything it takes to be a great, great player, and he took it to the next level. I mean, big time from a, toughness, competitive standpoint. He's so athletic. I mean, he is an unbelievable athlete with great size, 6'4", 300-plus pounds, can flat run, pass rush, and he dominated the game. I mean, matter of fact, I don't do this very often in the game, but during the game, I stopped what I was doing as far as talking about adjustments, and I said, man, you are tearing it up. I mean, I was just impressed by that, and he had these look in his eye like I haven't. His light went on in the last 2 games, and he has got a chance to, if he'll continue to do that. Wow, I was very, very impressed, and so were a lot of other people.
Coach, you've talked a lot about your respect for Mike Riley at Oregon State. What makes him such a good football coach?
One of the things that I'm not a big networking type person. I don't really know anybody other than the people I work with. Obviously, I've just met Coach Riley since I've been here. It's watching his team play. The guys that I have the most respect for, that's where it kind of comes from. The toughness that they play with. I mean, year in and year out, they're going to play hard, especially up front on both sides of football. They've had some injuries and things this year that's hurt them. And then just just how well they're coached from a schematic standpoint, and just how well they use their personnel, and it's one that you cannot relax with, because he understands spacings, understands blocking surfaces, and he's got a lot of experience and just very, very sound in what they do schematically, and fundamentally one of the best teams you see fundamentally at every position. That's why I have so much respect for him.
Coach, can you address the attention to detail that you put into your game preparation as a coaching staff, whether it's a 5'10" quarterback to raise your hands and deflect passes, your preparation on details game to game?
We spent a lot of time on that, on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game. I think, you got to balance continuing to get better and stress and work hard fundamentally to get better, and we do that. But that is a huge part of each week, because college football is about personnel matchups and trying to find, when you look at film, it's real easy to see when you have a guy like Golson a quarterback that's flinging it all over. You can see what they do really well. The key is to find where the flaws are and how can we attack them. How can we get our best guys on their less guys? How can we impact and change what they do? So what I do is we go through and we really look and say, here's what we do well, and we're going to do those things and work hard at those and get better fundamentally at executing them. But so much of it's so different than it used to be years ago. I mean, it's so much more detail into the game planning. And for instance, last week there was our huge part of our game plan was how we played up front. And where we thought the trajectory of the ball was a lower trajectory. And so we felt like that it would allow us to play a different leverage in the back end. And at first it really wasn't working until we started, getting our, we were able to get in the lanes. We weren't in the lanes, we were getting our hands up, but we were opening up the lanes. And so we spent a lot of time on the details of the complexity of matching routes and attacking protections. And last week, I give you an example of how detailed game plans are. Our pressure changed twice. They lined up and motioned and moved. It started off in one, and it moved to another, and finished in a third. And so it's so much more complex than what it used to be. And I'm speaking from the defensive side of it. Coach Norvell and them, the details of how they go about doing what they're doing is it's all about trying to eliminate poor calls. I used to try to call plays that won the game. Now I'm just trying to make sure that I don't call the play that loses the game. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it is the game is so much more complex in what they're doing from a check and audible system and pace of game and all that there's a lot. There's tremendous amount of details.
Todd, can you just talk about Lloyd Carrington and just what he's meant to you this whole season?
Well, he's obviously I coach the corners, so really close to Lloyd, and he's it seems like we've been together about 10 years. But really proud of him. He's from the same neck of the woods that I'm from in Dallas, and so just very, very proud of him and how he's played. I thought it was his best game to this point. Big time interception for a touchdown, but he has played so physical and improved. One of the most improved players on our team, and I think him and Quishy Brown have been over the last 3 or 4 weeks have been very, very important in our improvement defensively, because they've been able to basically go out there and just cover that, cancel out the number one receivers on both sides, and so he's been Lloyd's done tremendous, and he is a silent, very quiet guy, silent leader, a tremendous character, great athleticism, and one of the smartest players that I've had the pleasure of working with.